Hey everybody, how's it going? Matthew Kadish here, author of the Earthman Jack Space Saga, available over on Amazon.com. So if you want to support me and the channel, please go check it out. It's a fun little science fiction, action, adventure saga that's good for all ages. And if you like good science fiction and even mediocre science fiction, you might enjoy it. So we got some movie news coming out at us today, and this is going to be about a sequel or potential sequel to the movie Atomic Blonde. Now, if you guys haven't seen Atomic Blonde yet, it's kind of a Cold War era spy flick starring Charlize Theron as a British agent who is on a very dangerous mission and behind the Berlin Wall, and it's kind of like a James Bond starring like a tough chick type of spy thriller. It was an interesting movie. It was directed by a guy named David Leitch, who is one of the co-creators of John Wick, and I believe he's directed the follow-ups to John Wick, John Wick Chapter 2 and John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. But he's also, I think he also directed Hobbs and Shaw as well. So he started off as a stunt guy, and he kind of transitioned into directing action movies, and he's quite good at the action stuff. Now, my problem with Atomic Blonde was that the story was a little bit convoluted, and it got a little bit ridiculous towards the end there. But at the same time, it was a nice little throwback film. Like, it had a very unique visual style to it. I thought Charlize Theron was very good as the central character. And the action, of course, was absolutely phenomenal. But the story itself was just kind of okay. However, the movie did pretty well at the box office, and now there's talks of a follow-up. So we're over here at CBR.com, and they had a chance to kind of catch up with director David Leitch during his press tour for Hobbs and Shaw, and they asked him about this. So we're going to go through this article real quick. A sequel to 2017's Atomic Blonde looks as though it may finally happen, albeit with one major change. Talk of a sequel to Atomic Blonde has been ongoing, with actress Charlize Theron confirming it was in development in April of last year. However, since then, things have been relatively quiet, with little to no news surfacing in regards to the film. And now we know why. According to director David Leitch, the sequel may be headed to a streaming service. While promoting his latest release, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, Leitch was asked about a follow-up to Atomic Blonde. While he didn't get into specifics, the director did confirm a sequel is still in development, with a streaming service potentially looking to pick it up. I think there is still talk of a sequel. A streaming service is into it, he explained. I don't know all the details. I was a work for hire on that movie, but at the end of the day, Kelly McCormick, my producing partner and my wife, good old nepotism in Hollywood, she will be involved, I'm sure, as a producer. That's how I got the gig in the first place. We'll see. Produced for just $30 million, Atomic Blonde, which is R-rated, managed to take in an impressive $100 million at the worldwide box office. Certainly enough to garner interest in a sequel. Still, it appears things are in the early stages, with the film in the process of securing a new home, and it remains to be seen whether or not Leitch returns behind the camera. For now, those eager to see Theron return in an action-packed film, we at least know Atomic Blonde 2 is on the way, hopefully. Atomic Blonde is an adaptation of the 2012 graphic novel The Coldest City by Anthony Johnston and Sam Hart. The film debuted in July 28th, 2017, and starred Charlize Theron, James McAvoy, and Sophia Boutella. All right, so obviously the streamer that they're talking about is probably, in all likelihood, Netflix here. Netflix is known for kind of shelling out big money for these original movies that they do. I think that with a built-in audience coming off of a good movie like Atomic Blonde, it's a good bet that Netflix is the streamer in question here that would probably be financing the follow-up. Now, keep in mind that Netflix is very focused on their international market, so they're looking for stuff with international appeal, and the fact that Atomic Blonde pulled in $100 million in worldwide box office definitely makes it a good contender for a original movie on Netflix. So my guess is that's where we're going to end up seeing this if it goes through. Charlize Theron is probably going to be involved as a producer, but it is unlikely that she might come back as the Atomic Blonde character, especially after the twisty finale that this movie had. Now, it's entirely possible that she'll come back because she is the quote-unquote Atomic Blonde. But one of the interesting things is that there's actually a sequel to the graphic novel that this movie is based on, and that just came out. It's called The Coldest Winter. The very first graphic novel that Atomic Blonde was based on was called The Coldest City. But The Coldest Winter actually focuses on David Percival, who was James McAvoy's character in the Atomic Blonde movie. And this is basically a prequel. It's set in Berlin in January of 1982. Atomic Blonde was set in Berlin in 1989, towards the end of the Cold War. And this little synopsis here kind of gives us an idea of what the graphic novel sequel is about. It says, after a string of botched assignments for MI6 in Berlin, David Percival is being sent home. Even his final mission before leaving, the defection of a Soviet scientist, goes badly wrong as the coldest winter for 30 years descends on Europe. With transportation out of Berlin impossible and the KGB searching everywhere for their lost scientist, Percival must improvise a deadly game of cat and mouse through the frozen city to keep the Russians at bay and deliver his own unique brand of revenge. So if you watched the Atomic Blonde movie, you'll know that David Percival, he's kind of this former British spy who's living in Berlin, and he kind of starts playing all the sides against each other, and he's basically one of the villains of the Atomic Blonde book, or the Atomic Blonde movie. And because he's kind of centered on as being the main character in this prequel, there's the possibility that the sequel to Atomic Blonde could be based off of a younger version of his character, so they could recast a younger-looking actor as James McAvoy's character. Or what they can do is they can gender swap this and just have Charlize Theron be playing another actress be playing the Charlize Theron role as a younger version of the character from Atomic Blonde, and it follows roughly the same story as this one. So that's something that you might want to keep in mind as we follow this possible sequel to Atomic Blonde. I'd highly recommend you check out thecoldestcity.com if you're interested in this type of thing, because they have some book trailers here. And I'm actually interested in picking up the graphic novels because they look pretty interesting. I'm a big sucker for those kind of good old Cold War spy stories because I just find them fascinating. I like intrigue. What can I say? But yeah, that's the big news. So what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for an Atomic Blonde sequel? What streaming service do you think it'll end up on? And what do you think about them maybe following the sequel to the graphic novels as the story for Atomic Blonde 2? Or do you think they're going to go in a completely different direction with an original script? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you want to help support the channel and get more movie news, TV news, and entertainment news and analysis, please subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified every time I update. I put videos out daily, at least I try to. Anyway, guys, this is Matthew Kadish, and I will catch you in the next video. See you later.